It's another week of interesting developments in Nigeria's energy sector, spanning across various value chains of the oil and gas sector, power sector, including mining. As we usually do on this program, we take you around those developments that shaped conversations in the course of the last 7 days as far as the energy sector is concerned in Nigeria, Africa, and elsewhere across the world. In the course of the week, the name of the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, talking about the NNPC, again dominated media space as calls for its removal from office intensified. This is just as other interest groups emerged, pledging their support for the NNPC GCEO to remain in office to enable him continue to drive the required growth in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Details of this report and other stories will come in our Energy in 7 Days segment. But as usual, we shall be going on a quick break, after which we go straight to the news segment of the show. For updates on this program, you can follow us on all our social media handles, facebook.com/AIT Lagos. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel to watch this program at AIT Lagos. My name is Afemike Ebigie, your regular host. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, talking about the NNPC, topped several conversations during the week in review. A group of concerned activists converged in the nation's federal capital territory, Abuja, to demand the immediate removal of the NNPC top chief executive. The group says the call for the immediate removal of the NNPC GCEO is not unconnected with findings which have revealed that the NNPC top chief is working with other groups underground to undermine the policies of President Bola Tinubu's administration in the oil and gas sector. The group also alleged that at a time when transparency and accountability is demanded to stabilize the nation's oil and gas sector, Bayo Ojulari has been found to be wasteful in the way he currently runs the nation's petroleum company.
The continued stage of Engineer Ojulari in office represents the missing link, sabotaging the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. For the sake of accountability, national stability, national security, and the future of our oil industry, his removal is now an urgent and inevitable national assignment. We further demand a competent, visionary, and unifying GCEO who must be appointed to restore confidence, unite management, and reposition NNPCL for greater heights.
The Niger Delta people and youth will not sit idle and watch vested interests destroy the credibility and reform gains of the NNPC. We want that any further attempt to destabilize the NNPC or the peace of the Niger Delta will be met with strong resistance from the united ethnic nationality and youth bodies of our region. The time has come to put Nigeria first. Engineer Bayo Ojulari has come to do that, and we will continue to support him.
The energy sector in the week in focus recorded some positive news as the Nigerian government says it is currently targeting the production of 3 million barrels of crude oil daily. In achieving this target, the National Economic Council in the course of the week directed the subcommittee on crude oil theft and prevention to put all machinery in motion to increase crude oil production from about 1.7 million to 3 million barrels per day. Giving life to the ambitious target of 3 million crude oil production per day, Chairman of the subcommittee and Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, said work has already started to achieving this target, given ongoing consultations with critical players in the oil industry.
To take briefing from the new management of NNPC and NUPRC, the regulator, and we are satisfied with the presentation given to us by the management of NNPC and their work plan, and we wish to engage them again before our next meeting to be able to fashion out a meeting point to ensure that Nigeria begin to produce at least 3 million barrels a day.
The challenges in the nation's electricity sector is still raising concerns and getting attention from citizens across Nigeria. This time in Akure, the Ondo State capital, and in the course of the week under review, residents of George's Estate at Alagbaka area of the state stormed the headquarters of the Benin Electricity Distribution Company, where they protested poor power supply to their community despite paying their bills on regular basis. The protesters alleged that officials of the Electricity Distribution Company disconnected the community's old power line connection to a new one for certain undisclosed reasons, a development they say has crippled their socio-economic lives due to constant blackout.
All of a sudden, about 3 weeks ago, they started erecting poles in the estate, and they were asked, why are you people erecting poles? And we were told, we were deceived that they want to upgrade us to band A. For the past 3 weeks, we have not been having light. They now connected us to another line. So that's what we have been facing for the past three weeks. What we want now is that they should take us back to where we were before.
They came to our state, they lied to us that they want to upgrade us to commercial line. I told them, we are enjoying 16, 18 hours a day. We don't need any other light. We are okay with that. They said it's band E, we'll be paying higher, but we keep on enjoying the services. We agreed. They laid their pole. As soon as they finish it, they just remove us from Alagbaka. They now connect us to Oda. For the past 5 days, no light in Oda. We are not here to fight them. What we are asking for, they should take us back to our former light.
S Energies, one of Nigeria's leading indigenous oil and gas company, says it remains committed to advancing growth in Nigeria's energy sector. The company's executive director and chief finance officer, Sam Wanze, disclosed this at a presentation made during a media party. The presentation tagged the S Energy story from vision to impact, highlighted the company's journey so far, spanning from vision, the OML-17 acquisition journey, production and gas milestones, including community investments and the company's aspirations across Nigeria and Africa. In summary, Sam Wanze said, S Energies has made significant impact in the nation's oil and gas sector. In his closing remarks at the party, Chief Executive Officer of S Energies, Osa Igiehan, who addressed topics such as Nigerians' energy security, role of indigenous players in driving growth in Nigeria's oil and gas sector, including the company's approach to sustainability and host community development, reaffirmed S Energies' commitment to transparency, value creation, and Africa capitalist principles. Welcome back from your 7 days in energy sector segment. That segment that brings you up to speed with issues that set agenda for the energy sector in 7 days. Now to our next segment, which is the interview segment that brings you the perspectives of stakeholders in the energy sector operating environment. Public affairs commentators, including reform and policy analysts, to share their thoughts and set agenda for the government as it relates to policy direction for the energy environment. On this week's edition of the program, We shall be speaking with a member of the Where is the Light campaign movement who would be leading us on a ride to once again look at the state of the Nigerian power sector and how the administration of President Bola Tinubu has fared in the last 3 years of his administration. Our guest says electricity supply has substantially improved in his area of residence in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, in recent times. He will also be sharing other perspectives with us. That interview will come after the break. But do always remember to follow us on all our social media handles displaying on your screen right now.
What I would say is that I think I may not have maybe the data to make an assessment of the power sector. Of course, I'm going to talk about my own area. Why I said so is that historically, the areas I have lived, not much has been different. Even when people complain that the past situation is bad, is worse, and all that, I won't say anything has been radically different. So that's why I said maybe there are just areas that historically have good supplies, and there are areas that historically have bad supply, because my experience have not been super bad. Of course, apart from situation where your transformer is bad and then it takes months before they fix it. But in terms of the supply itself, I won't say I've had a very bad experience. And if you talk about the last 2 years, I think it's a fairly decent situation for me in the areas I've lived. And I don't live in eyebrow area. Like, I live generally in middle income, maybe even closer to lower income areas. So, for instance, in Lagos, I live at Igondo, that's Okoloyun areas to be specific. In Ibadan, I live at Akpata area as well. So in terms of metering, I would also say my own experience is different. So at least I can say in the last 3 years in my area at Okoloyun here, I see people getting meter like from time to time. Yeah, it may take 6 months to process. I don't know whether 6 months is a decent time. Or maybe because I already prepared my mind to say, oh, this is Nigeria. Things don't work as quick as they should. So if I'm processing meter now, in my mind, I budget like minimum of 6 months if I'm processing meter. So when I process it roughly within 5 months or thereabout. And then I've seen various houses in my area. I've been able to get the next neighbor, front, back, everywhere. Every new house that is built in the area, they get their meter. That's why I'm just wondering whether there are areas that just have, historically, that have always had power problem generally. But for me, that's my experience. To get a prepaid meter has not been an impossible situation the way it has been for others. Okoloyun area in Igondo. So yes, you may talk about things like, do you have to tip somebody to get it? That one is always there. But at least we'll still end up getting, at least for every house that wants to get it, they tend to get it maybe within 6 months, maybe slightly more, maybe slightly low, but somehow we always get meters. Impossible. I mean, regardless of what they say on TV, it's impossible. I can bet that nobody will say they ever get a meter free. So not only that you pay some charges that and all that, you will still have to tip somebody, and that tipping is more or less like an official arrangement in its own right, because it's practically impossible to get it done and say you got it free. So I won't say my experience, I didn't get it free. Nobody has ever said they get it free, and I know nobody gets it free. even in my situation, so I live at a house that borders 2 streets, and then I paid. They said the payment I made was on a different line, same place, more like two on the same pole actually. So it's like maybe two supply lines meeting on the same pole. They said so I have to pay another one to be on a different line and different transformer. So you have to pay your way through. That's just it. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to try to do the devil's advocate here. You see, if you are saying I should claim my rights and all that, so doing the right thing has to be easy. If doing the right thing is difficult, then you already create room for people. So the government that can hold people accountable is technically saying it is helpless. Because, so take for instance, what does it cost to say the same way I process my OPay online or my Money Point account. I have a corporate account that is Money Point. The same way I do all this KYC, know your customer issue, I can do it online. I can capture online and all that. Why do I have to see somebody before something can get done? And then I'll wait till almost forever to get it done. People are not going to do it. It's not like people don't know that all of these things are wrong. It is even common sense. You don't need any law to tell you that tipping somebody will be wrong. Distribution company, are they the one who also receive our direct payments? You know, they've so split all these companies that you don't know which one does which role. So, yes, I know the Gencos, the generation company, the distribution company, they are the one who do the billing, right? For me, again, you see, if you know me, or if you look at my, social media engagements, I'm not a fan of government. I'm not a pro-government person by any measure that you measure a pro-government person. So coupled with my human rights background. But you see, on this particular billing issue, maybe is by income status, but let me give you a sense of it. In my house, I have at least 10 ceiling fans, Giant 62. I mean, about, let's say roughly 7 of them are Giant 62 OX or ORL fan. So I have about 10 ceiling fans. And in a month, so then I have a freezer, I have electric cooker. If I have that kind of fans, you should know how much I will even use things like iron. I have water supply, free water that I give to people outside. You can imagine the frequency of pumping water. In all of this, I don't spend up to 10,000 naira monthly on my prepaid. So for me, that's a decent billing. So maybe I'm only then saying that because of my income level. I may not be able to, judge. But for me, I think the billing is still decent. And a friend who works with the PSCN made me understand that all other bands are subsidized apart from band A. So maybe that's what is happening. But for me, with that kind of service, and I get decent power supplies, roughly 12 hours, 15. So for instance, there's almost a guarantee that I'll have supply from around, say, 10 p.m. till daybreak. And then I'll have sometimes in the morning, sometime in the afternoon. So roughly, it's either I get around 12 to 15 hours. And then I use like 10 silly fund, and then I still pay less than 10,000 naira. For me, that's decent. I don't know whether it can be lower, but for me, I think it just feels like a fair pricing, a fair billing for me. I think the biggest agenda for me will be to make sure that to leave no person or no house or no setup without a prepaid meter. I think getting everyone to have a prepaid meter should be top of the agenda for me. And then the second for me will be to balance the distribution. There are places where they have band A and they are not praying for band A, they are almost cursing the government for giving them band A because they don't need it. So, for instance, yeah, I'm not going to mention an area so that I don't put them at a disadvantage, but that's not the reality. So, the band A is more about convenience for governments. It's not about any assessment of whether they need it in this area. Yes, there are times where they deliberately route power to some areas, but for some areas, it's not about need. So, number one agenda is to get the meter to go around. That's where I'll now then decide to say, okay, you are charging me too much. But when I can't even measure how you are charging me, I think I'm already put at a disadvantage. That would be top the agenda for me. Then secondly is to balance the distribution. There are places where so much power is needed, they don't have it. They need just little in some places. You just need to put them on band C, band D. They are on band A. Then I think even this band B, C, D is not the same. So the fact that I'm on band D does not guarantee that I will have a certain minimum. It only means that when there is enough, after they've supplied band A, supply band B, then maybe I may get some. So I think balancing the distribution, some kind of equity, if not equality, at the level of the distribution will be the second for me on the agenda. So then maybe we can start talking about the subsidy, the pricing, and all that.
Okay, this is where we would be wrapping today's edition of the program, believing that you have enjoyed every bit of the content we have presented before you today. In case you missed this terrestrial transmission of this edition, you can always watch same edition fresh on our YouTube channel at AIT Lagos. And for your advert placement, you can always reach me on the numbers on your screen. Until I come your way again in our next edition, it's goodbye and see you in another 7 days. I remain Afemike Ebigie, your host.
Music Bed.